What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Taurean Reign Reloaded channel. If you have not done so already, make sure you go ahead and hit that like and share button. If you're new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Make sure you also hit the bell twice to be notified whenever I go live or upload a new video. So as y'all can see by the title, myself and Blacklight Revelations are back with another collab. And Rob, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and let the people know who you are just in case they are unfamiliar.
What's going on, Taurean Reign and Taurean Reign subscribers? It's your boy Blacklight Revelations. We are back with another collaboration because we had to address nonsense that Sneako decided to put on Twitter. You know, it's just he's always doing this stuff, and there's a reason why he's doing it, and we're gonna get into that.
Exactly. And this is going to be our first time addressing him. It's probably several other times we probably definitely could have addressed him, but this one right here definitely stood out. And Rob, you was the one I think I found out about this tweet through you because you had retweeted it and you had said something about it. And that's how I came across it. And then I had replied to it and I said, it looks like we found our new target. like that was my immediate response. I said, it looks like I found our new target.
Right. Yeah. Well, the thing that's interesting about that tweet is that he actually said, for the most part, that same thing word for word on No Jumper podcast. And of course, you know, Adam 22 just sat there lost. But I mean, Sneako does this all the time. It was his live stream where Fresh and Fit were wearing the KKK hoods and John Zerka was saying the N-word all over the place. These guys in that little circle of content creators, they always do this kind of stuff. But what's interesting about it is that, you know, in all of their content creation and all of the amounts of money that they have with camera crews and different things like that, they never go into the hood and do that stuff live. You know, it'd be nice to see Fresh and Fit drive through the grimy part of Dade County and do all of the antics that they do on their show and see how that works.
Exactly. They do it from their little hobbit hole, you know, their own little comfort space.
Yep.
But yeah, but before we actually get into it of what we're actually going to discuss, my question to you would be, how would you define Black culture?
I would define Black culture as everything that we've been to since the United States began fighting white supremacy. As far as Black American culture, I think the one thing that unifies us here in the United States is the white supremacist oppression and the constant fight to disintegrate white supremacy. So I think a lot of the elements of things that we created as a derivative of doing that. A lot of things like hip hop that we created were ways of being defiant and breaking up and creating weakness and cracks in white supremacy. And I believe that that's a good way to define Black American culture, FBA, Freeman, ADOS, because we deal with white supremacy directly, and the country where we live in is one of the countries that literally created its entire GDP and basically everything that defines it, that it can market to global culture as something that came from something that we created.
Cool. That's a very, very good and thorough definition. And to those of y'all who are listening right now in the chat, y'all can go ahead and leave y'all definition, or down in the comments if you're catching it on the replay, you can leave your definition of what Black American culture is down in the comments. One thing I've said about Black American culture, and I've said this so many times, and I'll say it here just in case people didn't get it the first time. I've always said that Black American culture is the trendsetter of the world.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any place on this earth that our culture has not touched.
Yeah, I agree. Another way that you could define Black American culture is the consistent defeater of white supremacy. Anything that white supremacy throws at us, we create something that becomes a global culture that was originally created to deflect or divert or destroy white supremacy. Every single thing that comes out of what we do is a hit back to white supremacy. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But with that being said, like I said, I just wanted to ask Rob that question, and I wanted to give my little response to it as well. And I asked the audience who was watching that too, because now I'm going to show you the tweet in which Rob sent to me, like, well, not sent to me, but I came across, in which we're going to address today. And how ironic, Rob, that he posted this on August the 6th, 2023. Rob, can I ask you this question? What was happening that day?
What was happening that day? I can't remember.
That's when the video in Alabama went viral.
That was the original day when that went viral?
Yes, that's when the video went viral. Okay. That's why I said, that's why when you had posted that the tweet, I said how ironic that he posted this the same day that video in Alabama went viral. And I think that video was already out there by the time he posted this.
Probably, because it looks like he posted it at 2:31 p.m. according to what it says here on Twitter. Yeah, because the brawl happened on the 5th, and the video went viral the next day on the 6th. It's just
this past Sunday.
It's just amazing how delusional these people are. It's just amazing. I've seen so many comments that said those black people only jumped those white guys because they were fighting a black guy. They were fighting a black guy, which means that they were jumping him first. It's just amazing how these people will literally, even in a moment of just a couple days ago, they'll attempt to delete the history. Even if it's just a couple days ago. I bet you Ron DeSantis is working on legislation right now to say that if you talk about this incident, you have to talk about it in the fact that the black people jumped the white people. And you can't talk about what happened as far as, you know, when the original white guys were jumping the black guy who was an employee of the place where he was supposed to be, which, mind you, in the stand your ground laws apply where you're able to apply lethal force, whether you're at home or work or any place where you're allowed or have permission to be at. So if he happened to, you know, pull out a gun and delete those people, he would be allowed to do it because he was an employee at where he was. But again, we leave out all of these details to appease the fragile feelings of the population at large and all of their, as you say, co-colonizing cohorts like Sneako.
And it's very interesting you mentioned Ron the Snowflake because, you know, they banned teaching, you know, Black American history, but they want to incorporate PragerU as a curriculum into the school, something that's not accredited, by the way. Right. It's not accredited by any school scholastic standards for anything on any level, state, city, county, what have you, but they will incorporate that. And let me correct myself. They didn't ban Black American history. They rewrote it. They rewrote the slavery part to fit their narrative, which is even worse.
As a result of all of this, I learned some Black history. I did not know that it was a foundational Black American man that created the fold-out chair. So I found that out too. Yeah, I didn't know about that. So my question for Ron DeSantis is creating fold-out chairs a skill that you learned from slavery? And are we going to talk about how him creating that chair out of slavery helps some foundational Black Americans bust some white supremacists upside their head today? Are we gonna learn about that? Can we put that into the new updated Stop Woke Act?
we know he ain't gonna do that.
Nah, of course not. But it's worth asking. It's worth the laughs, you know.
Right. All right. So, you know, as Rob and I was talking, I'm sure those of y'all in the chat, y'all were listening to what we were saying, but it also gave y'all enough time to look at and examine the tweet that you see on your screen. So this is the tweet that Sneako put up on August 6th, like I said, the same day that the video went viral at 2:31 p.m. And that's why I said I feel like this was so strategic on his part, as far as I'm going to just slide this right on in here and how ironic what happened in Alabama. So the tweet reads, Black culture was designed to destroy. Hold up, Rod. Do you want me to read the whole tweet or do you want us to go at it line by line?
We can go line by line.
Okay. So he comes out exploding with this first one. He said, Black culture was designed to destroy.
My thing is that I would say to Sneako is I'm glad you picked that up. Black culture was designed to destroy white supremacy that was oppressing us the entire time. So sure, if that's what you want to say, yeah, it was designed to destroy. Check out Nat Turner in case you don't know about Nat Turner or John Horse or any of those guys.
And I'm curious, though, because, you know, on the other side, he says Black culture was designed to destroy. Yet what wars has Black culture created?
The only war that black culture has been a respondent in, not a war that we created, is the war against ongoing white supremacy that people like Sneako have jumped in on the side of white supremacy against. So yeah, feeling a lot of those roasts and people not really accepting him all like that because he's suspect. Yeah, I can see how Sneako would say black culture was designed to destroy, because it's designed to destroy and seek out people like you, Sneako.
And by the way, let me insert this in here just in case I forget. Sneako is not half black anything.
No.
We pulled the receipts on his family. We've seen both of his parents with him and I think a sibling in a picture that was taken years ago, but that's definitely him. He's not black anywhere. A lot of people thought that Sneako was at least biracial because he looked aesthetically, he looked mixed. He's mixed, but he's not mixed with black. But nah, he's not. I can't remember. Rob, do you remember?
I think he's
I think it's some Asian in there, definitely.
Yeah, Asian and Arab. And honestly, in my opinion, in my opinion, he doesn't look mixed. He doesn't look mixed with black in anything. In my opinion, that's just me. Just like Myron Gaines. Myron Gaines to me don't look black.
You mean Emerald Foodle?
Emerald Foodle, yeah.
Emerald Foodle,
Emerald Fondo.
Okay, let's go to the next line. The next line says, victim mentality so ingrained it becomes entitlement. Yeah, and that's another thing they love to say or try to put onto us, is that black people, particularly black Americans, have a victim mentality. They love to do that, especially with us talking about reparations, because that comes into play. And then of course they throw in the handout portion of it as well.
Well, I would actually agree with that statement, but from a different standpoint. Victim mentality is so ingrained it becomes entitlement. Yes, I agree. When you are on the wrong end of the FBA raft, you begin to develop a victim mentality and you feel entitlement. Just like Ron DeSantis, who was an Adoso, an American descendant of slave owners, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and half of the United States Congress. These people are clowns. And their entitlement has become ingrained. So because they don't want to hear about the sins of what their degenerate families have done to black Americans since the creation of the United States, they become entitled. Ron DeSantis has become entitled to create things like the Stop Woke Act. Governor Stitt down in Oklahoma has become entitled to do things like encourage a no settlement for the Tulsa survivors. California became entitled to just steal Manhattan Beach from that family. So yeah, the victim mentality of these white supremacists who feel our raft, it definitely becomes entitlement to them. And then they try to mobilize their resources to do whatever it is that they can to try to strike back. Shout out to Sneako. He's 2 for 2, clown.
And it's funny, when it comes to entitlement, no one is more entitled than the American PC woman and her man, but especially that woman.
Let's put the nail in the coffin right through Sneako's eye when it comes to this entitlement. When it comes to the Civil Rights Act, right, and the EEOC and the affirmative action and all of that, that was supposed to be for FBA coming out of slavery, right?
Yeah.
Who became entitled and ended up benefiting from it the most?
White women.
Oh, man, clean up that viscous serum that's dripping all out of Sneako's eye socket right now.
All right, the next line reads, any black leader who creates is eliminated.
By who? Who are they eliminated
That
by?
Was literally what I was going to say, by who?
Right. So now if you ask Sneako will say, oh, the black community deletes all of these people. That's not true. Who deleted Martin Luther King, everybody's favorite person to remix?
And by the way, speaking of that, his family in the late 90s actually sued the government and won.
And isn't Malcolm X's family going through some issues with the New York Police Department as far as the cover up with them working with the FBI?
Yep. Like we can go down a list of black leaders from back in the day and who eliminated them.
Yep.
We would be here probably for like over an hour if we did that.
Oh, absolutely.
The next line reads, the ones who spread degeneracy are rewarded.
All I got to say is look at the government infusion of money into the monkeypox epidemic.
You just had to bring that up.
Had to bring it up.
Because I know when that was going on, you was on that heavy.
Because for one, monkeypox didn't originate in Africa. And for two, where it's circulating at, it's circulating there for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And when you think about like degeneracy, I don't think anyone has PC beat.
No.
in that department. If you want to go historical to modern day, they win hands down in the
Easy.
degenerate category. Like, I'm not even going to go and list the categories as far as the subcategories, as far as where they fall into degeneracy at. Sure, there's degeneracy in every group, but when you talk about what is rewarded, Sneako, they get rewarded a lot. And then there's different levels of degeneracy.
The entire legal system here in the United States is created to create a monopoly so that no other group of people can utilize the tactics and methods that were used by the white people that created this country to ever create anything to rival this country. Every single law is something that was done in the creation of the United States.
Right. And it's funny you
go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's funny that you were saying, like, going back to the degeneracy part, when you was mentioning about how he was literally sitting right next to an individual who wore the Klan hood on his head. Is that not a form of degeneracy? Because was he ever truly checked? Was he ever really checked? And when I say check, Sneako didn't even check him. He just let him do what he wanted and was sitting there laughing like he was having a good time.
Nah, it was the other guy, John Zerka, who was actually implying that they were going too far. Now, mind you, this was after him just binge saying the N-word, but it was another, fellow WS who was up there saying that they needed to chill out a little bit.
Isn't that interesting? And it's funny because wasn't Sneako on Fresh and Fit like the day before when they were saying the N-word and he so-called looked so uncomfortable? Then like the next day they're on his platform and he has the Klan hood. He brought it back and now he's sitting up there laughing.
Yeah.
Just as fake as a $3 bill in a Monopoly board game set.
Facts. Super facts.
Next one reads, well, this is actually like the last line, but it's split into two parts. It says, picture quote unquote black culture in your head. Do you see scholars? We'll start right there.
Yes.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Dr. Martin Luther King.
Dr. Frances Cress Welsing.
Right.
The Queen Mother herself, Isis Papers, the Black Bible. I suggest you read it if you haven't done so.
Right.
It's so many doctors. We have so many scholars. You even have young scholars. I've highlighted them on my channel so many times. You got young 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old black children, boys and girls, graduating with honors with
Facts.
people who are 18 to 22.
Facts.
You would think they would be in either getting ready to go to high school or still in middle school. And these are kid geniuses, and they are doing it up.
Facts. Dr. Sabi.
Dr. Claude Anderson.
Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Amos Wilson.
Dr. John Henry Clark.
Now, see, Sneako is one of those idiots, along with the dominant society, who will say Dr. Dre is one of the scholars.
I'll give you one better. He might say Dr. Pepper.
Or Dr. Pepper, because he's an idiot who's not a part of the culture, who attempts to manipulate and bastardize the culture because he's on the outside looking in, so he doesn't know anything.
Exactly, and again, it's a backhanded statement because it's like you are trying to. He's trying. Well, first off, he definitely with this whole tweet, he definitely tried to gaslight for sure. But notice me and you aren't even phased by what he said because we know what he's trying to do and we know who he's talking to. Yep. He's not talking to us. He's talking to them, and by them, we might go through some of these comments and you'll see what I mean when we say them. But it's a whole gaslight thing. No one takes this clown seriously. I think the only reason he feels like notice the only time he really gets a lot of traction on some of his tweets is when he's talking about black people, particularly FBA.
Do you know that Sneako is an individual who sat on the side of the bed and watched some other guy do his girlfriend?
I heard about that. I forgot about that until you mentioned it. But he wants to talk about degeneracy. That's degenerate behavior.
That's as degenerate as it gets.
Like you literally watched another dude smash your girl and you sat there and watched. That's called cuckolding.
Yeah. And he did that.
Yeah. So he has no room to talk just on that alone. Mm-hmm. Just like Admiral Foodle has no room to talk about black people after them pictures we've done seen of him.
Well,
and those of y'all who know, if you know, you know.
My question with Admiral Fondle is, why have we seen more pictures of him in the bed with white men than we've seen him in the bed with any women? Like, it would be maybe like some pictures should surface of him actually being in a bed with women, and maybe that would help the reputation. But as far as it goes, the online fingerprint of Admiral Foodle is only him in the bed being Admiral Fondle with some white dudes.
And also, to add on to that, did he ever state that those images were doctored or anything like that? Did he ever come out and actually say that those pictures were not real?
No, he didn't ever say that, because those pictures are real.
Okay, that's all I was just asking, because I never knew if he did or if he didn't. Because usually, if someone puts out something like that and it feels like it would incriminate them or ruin their reputation, then they'll come out and try to say that's not me, or that's someone who doctored an image and they did that to try to ruin my reputation.
Yeah.
But now I have my answer.
Well, and the people who were in the photo with him, hugged up with him and all that, they've posted, I guess, because those were his college buddies, they've posted comments and different things like that. And a lot of those pictures are not even original pictures that he posted. His college buddies posted those on their Instagram accounts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can tell they probably. I can also tell by the quality they post them a while ago, because once you like post a picture or a video, once you share it or download it a whole bunch of times, it loses its quality.
Right.
So
it's just like a Xerox copy machine.
Right. And the last line says, under the picture black culture in your head, he says, or gang signs and twerking.
Does he now
he's focusing on the court. I
said, does he mean like the 3% gang sign with the 3 fingers up?
Right. Or the Nazi salute.
Right.
So yeah, so he's trying to like lean in on the quote unquote ratchet side. But I told people before, every culture, every ethnic background has a ratchet society within their culture. Every last one of them. They may not call it that, but it is. For example, when it comes to PC, they have one called trailer trash.
They have one
or poor white trash.
They have one called porn. Like, how do we even have conversations about twerking before we talk about the porn industry? Like, they came up with and created the porn industry. This is actually people going the entire mile. And then in addition to that, with fetishes. And then let's also talk about Hustler magazine, Maxim magazine, Playboy magazine. Are we serious here? Twerking? Okay, like, yeah, twerking, people can have their opinions about that. And I don't think that most people appreciate twerking in the improper context. But let's talk about the mainstream degenerate culture. Who came up with the idea of porn?
I'll
Wasn't
give
us.
you a hint, Sneak. Well, I was going to say that. I'll give you a hint, Sneako. It wasn't us.
Right.
It definitely wasn't us. But yeah, so for those of y'all listening right there, that is his tweet. But I'm going to go through some of these responses, because you already know he has his fans, if you want to call them that are going to agree with what he said. So we have this first person right here, whose name is Yora Enzam, or however you pronounce their name, that says they live for degeneracy, zero accountability, YOLO.
Oh, he must have definitely been talking about the dominant society. So shout out to Yora.
Right. Now, this next one right here, I'm actually have to blow this one up because they love to bring this person up. Thomas Sowell should have the fame that rappers have.
Why?
They love the hell out of Thomas Sowell.
So because
and I use the word love loosely, by the way.
Well, then he's famous with the right people. Because if they love him, then that's who he should be famous with, them. He's not famous with us because we don't love him. This is a dude that tries to misconstrue history. He tries to derange internal politics. He is a complete clown. He's an economist who tries to write history books. I mean, I'm curious as to what it is why should he be famous? White people love Thomas Sowell. He's famous with white people. Why do white people feel that we should make the same people famous that they make?
Exactly. I remember when I did a video on Thomas Sowell, that video, it got significant amount of views, but not as much as if I was kissing Thomas Sowell's ass. But because I was critiquing him, it didn't do the numbers where as opposed to other people who did. And I actually did in that video, I was talking about how there's a lot of black people on YouTube who react to videos about Thomas Sowell or any type of narrative he spins, and they get so many views. That's because they are fake reacting to this dude and have no clue of history.
If there was no racial wealth
of a grift.
If there was no racial wealth gap, then black people wouldn't have reacted. They wouldn't be reacting.
Exactly. They all needed some of them YouTube Google coins.
Yeah, they trying to pay that electric bill and that rent next month.
Right. So let's shout out to Stephanie Dews. I follow her. Well, she follows me on here.
Oh yeah, Stephanie Dews. She be in your comment section, don't she?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's a subscriber.
Yeah.
Let's see. It was some people in there that pushed back. Let's see what people said. Someone said Cook Wico. I don't know. Cook Wico.
They should call him Tweeko. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. This person named Goldman Stack said the problem is you're calling hood degeneracy black culture. You don't know what black culture is because you're confined to seeing the trash you're describing. It's just unfortunate that you're misusing your influence to define trash as a culture.
What's the name of that county in Kentucky? Oswald County?
Owsley County. Oh, Owsley County, Kentucky. Let's talk about that, Sneako. If you want to see some degeneracy, look no further than that county.
Well, what we need to do, right? We need to do counter propaganda. And since white people and their colonizing counterparts like Sneako want to try to popularize the small segment of degeneracy that we have as our culture, then the wide spanning view of how we view white culture needs to be solely based in Owsley County.
Right. I think what makes this whole situation like so intense, so to speak, is granted, yes, we know Sneako is doing this to gaslight it, but the fact of the matter is that he's not black. Number one, he's not black American, and he's speaking on our culture, quote unquote, from a very negative, dark perspective in order to push an anti-black narrative. We always told people, as a matter of fact, shout out to Harvey over at Your World. He just recently did a video on Vivek Ramaswamy. And he just
was it titled Vivek Got Some Nerve?
No, I think he already got one up about that titled that. But this one was the most recent one when he was talking about Vivek was talking about canceling Juneteenth.
You know what? Yeah, shout out to Harvey. I was actually going to talk about that. I had an article up from NBC talking about that. But then I guess they seen him actually celebrating,
quote unquote, celebrating it, if you want to call it that. But no, the reason why I brought that up is because one thing Harvey said in his video that he says in a lot of videos when he's talking about the non-white dub S, or the co-colonizing cohort, is that granted, yes, we can always call out the PC one, but don't forget on the back side, on the back burner, you got people like Vivek Ramaswamy, Dinesh D'Souza, and all of them that are just as anti-black as the PC ones are. Sneako falls into the same category as Dinesh and Vivek.
Yeah. I heard that Vivek Ramaswamy cleans chitlins with his mouth.
Ugh. Of course, let's see. This one says facts 100.
Which, again, that whole 100 thing, I mean, that's cultural appropriation right there, but it is what it is.
Okay, let's see. Oh, it says we need to hear from JLP talk more. I'm guessing that's Jesse Lee Peterson.
Need to hear what? How he touches people in weird ways?
Right. So we got this guy right here. Lucas Gage says they don't want them off the plantations. And guess what? He posted the video of this old geezer right here on Dr. Phil talking about how black people don't need reparations. I remember that because I did a bed bucking entry on this dude with this same clip.
So black people don't need reparations. So my question is, what needs to be done to right the wrongs of slavery? Or did it just not happen?
Don't tell them that because they'll run with it.
No, I'm just asking. I want to hear what they have to say because I want to know where we came from. Because go ahead.
What they'll say is, well, yeah, it happened, but you know, the Irish was enslaved too. You know they're gonna come back with
enslaved that. Where are some Irish people with English last names that didn't get their last names from indentured servitude, that got their names from indentured servitude? They love to misconstrue
On purpose, by the way. It's all intentional. Indentured servitude with chattel slavery. There is no comparison. One, because one lasted way longer than the other. Two, y'all got compensated after it was over. Like y'all, like it was like after y'all was done doing your work, it was like y'all can go back to your lives or start anew. Y'all still were part of the jump. Y'all was still part of the head start that we, along with other people in the growing dominant society at the time.
Yeah, shout out to the DMV. Next time you go down there around by Washington, DC, go check out the Smithsonian or check out the Library of Congress and see how many purchase orders or wills or trusts that have Irish people in them. Let me know how many McDonald's that you see in those wills. I've never heard of any of these Adoso legacy families gifting their loved ones Irish slaves. Have you?
No.
Now, go ahead.
And speaking of Irish, when I was doing my Black Massacre series in the early stages of a lot of those massacres, a lot of the white people that were involved were of Irish descent.
Oh, especially in New York.
Yeah,
and that
movie, they had a hand in quite a few of them.
Yeah, in that movie Gang in New York, that's one thing that they left out about how every time white people start killing each other, they all of a sudden snap into reality and then start deleting black people around for no reason. In that movie, The Gang in New York with Leonardo DiCaprio, they left out all the black massacres up there in New York.
And ironically too, because when I did the draft riots of New York, that was the first entry into the series. They mentioned when in the article I was reading that massacre was inspired the making of that movie.
Yeah, that's why I brought that up. There's no white on white history that exists where a non-white group of people didn't get deleted as a result of white conflict.
Right.
World War II was white conflict. Japan got a atom bomb dropped on it. I mean, it's just countless examples all over the world, and we can even take ourselves out of the calculation and just point at everything they did. Look at over in Australia and New Zealand with the massacres of the Aboriginals. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of going to skip around a little bit. This person right here that says TNA Kirsch right here says, it's sad that I'm not sure if this is for impressions or you actually believe it. It's for impressions.
I think it's both.
I don't. You said you think it's both?
Yeah, I think it's both.
Why you say that?
Because I think that Sneako is an idiot, and I think that he actually believes it. And another thing that, like you said before, one thing that people tend to discount is the anti-black cultures that exist in a lot of these non-European cultures.
True.
So I think he actually believes it.
We're gonna read a couple more. This one says it was a design, didn't come from anything good, designed to be the most evil possible, has nothing to do with the color of a person, but the mentality that person holds.
Everything has to do with the color of a person. Everything that we created was because we're the color that we are, and the color that we are is the reason why we were persecuted in this country.
And by the way, PC was the one that created the racial construct, the social construct of race. Is amazing. Right. These are the same people that says they don't see color. Now everything is about race. Stop making everything about race. But what did y'all do years ago? Make everything about race.
Yep.
Y'all had a whole system that benefited you. But now that stuff is starting to shift. Now you want to go ahead and renege. You got to stick by it now. You in it.
Yeah, you in
it. Because I'm gonna put it this way. Either you stick where you're at with the cards you've dealt yourself, or you end white supremacy. It's one or the other. And we know they ain't doing option number 2. And the thing is, by them not getting rid of option number 2, they are basically admitting that white supremacy exists and they benefit from it.
Their idea of ending white supremacy is deleting everybody else's culture so that everybody can be culturally white with them at the top of the hierarchy. And that way racism is existed. That's all of what these equity and inclusion, nonsensical government programs and stupid initiatives that these Democrat and Republican think tanks come up with. That's all that is. Colorblind, bleached out nonsense.
This person, whose name is Pokestar, what a name, said rare Sneako W. Well, I would like to know what is an occasional L for Sneako if this is a rare W.
My question is, what did he W?
Exactly. That's the thing. Like I said, he has his own echo chamber. It's some people that's pushing back, but he has his echo chamber like this mathy person. It's true. Preach.
Yeah, go ahead and preach that
And I
libel.
and I bet you a lot of the people that's sitting down here agreeing with him probably have no kind of social interactings with black people.
Nah, except for
Except maybe if they do at work, and that's about it.
Yeah, or except for the rap albums that they listen to, and World Star Hip Hop when they watch it and think that that's black culture,
or when they sneak around the shade room.
Yeah, but again, though, I mean, everything that goes on in a trailer park or everything that goes on in Appalachia is indicative of the base of white culture. So every time we come in contact with a white married couple, we should assume that they're brother and sister. You know what I mean? Like, we should make that assumption, because if we're drawing the cultural definition off of a small segment of degeneracy, every traditional white family, as they say, we should assume that they're siblings.
Wow. And I'm gonna do this last one right here, and this is an interesting one to end it off on. It says feminism destroyed black culture as it is destroying the West as a whole.
Feminism destroyed black culture. If feminism destroyed black culture, then that means that it doesn't exist, and Sneako's post is erroneous.
Well, there it is. Like I said, we could go on and on all day just going in on that post and the people that reply, because it's so many. But who has that kind of time? I just wanted to show y'all that tweet and the responses that people was giving. Like, so y'all, if you never knew what an echo chamber looked like, you just witnessed that. That's what an echo chamber is. That's all they do, like where they just literally bounce off nonsense about a particular thing that's usually false, and then they come up with their own conclusion.
Yeah. And as far as the echo chamber thing goes, none of those people ever want to actually have debates. What they actually want is for them to be able to just talk and say a bunch of nonsense and nobody have any facts stacked up and push back with any actual evidence. Like I said, when it comes to us, we're on the right side of history. Our history is what drives our efforts for empowerment. That's something that's unique to us that other people do not have. Everything else is political with everybody else. Mm-hmm. Ours is historic. You know what I'm saying? So as a result of that, we are in most cases, when there's somebody who's politically and historically astute doing the talking, we're always right. Period. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We're not wrong. Our history is American history. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that these people come with these political objectives and they find people to make it seem like they don't know what they're talking about. And then they put the magnifying glass on those people and attempt to signal boost that as that's the voice for us, or this is the person for us. Mm-hmm. Sneako would never sit down and have a debate with you or me or Kid Gravity or TD or anybody, or Afro Elite or anybody, like the way that he sat down with Destiny and had a debate with Rollo Tomasi, because he would get utterly destroyed.
Exactly. And then you literally was saying what I was getting ready to say. Like, none of them would debate us. That's why it'd be so funny when Kid Gravity, shout out to Kid Gravity, by the way, when he be on the app formerly known as Twitter. I have to say it like that because I refuse to call it X. The app formerly known as Twitter. Whenever Vivek Ramaswamy posts something, he retweets it, or reposts it, I should say, because you can't say retweet anymore because it's not Twitter. He basically says a little something, and he says, he puts in all caps, come here or come talk to me. I said, that's fine. I said, because August 23rd is right around the corner, and I can't wait for that. And that day's going to expose a lot of people.
If I wouldn't even. And shout out to Kid Gravity, because Kid Gravity been on Vivek Ramaswamy. But if I had the revenue from YouTube that I hope to actually have one day, I would either myself take about 2 or 3 weeks, or I would pay a firm to do it, and I would audit all of Vivek Ramaswamy's campaign contributions as well as all of his company's revenues, and I would just talk about any discrepancies that I see in the tax accounting, and I would just tweet those with screenshots all day long until he said something back.
And I bet you it's probably a lot in there.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, y'all, that's pretty much gonna wrap this one up. This is a way more shorter one than me and Rob are usually doing. You know, usually we can go almost over an hour, and we got this done in under an hour because, like, it's only going over a tweet, so it's only so much you can really say, and you know, before you start rambling. But Rob, do you have anything that you have to say before we get up out of here?
Nah, I think we did a good job of breaking those tweets down. I encourage, if anybody from the tweet who responded to Sneako's tweet wishes to respond to our response, make sure that you leave it in the comment section, and we'll give you the same barbecue treatment that we gave Sneako. And I can't wait to the next one, because this is somebody he's been double toasted, and now he's about to get double roasted.
Exactly. But yeah, with that being said, shout out to everybody that came through. If y'all haven't done so already, again, make sure y'all leave a like. Make sure y'all share this. I don't give a damn. Y'all can go ahead and tag Sneako in it. Let him know that we are on his ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's on the radar now. Yeah, he's been on the radar, honestly. But you know, this is our first time like actually just sitting down and just like and talking about it.
Yeah, and before we go, shout out to Afro Elite, because Afro Elite actually did a whole stream addressing Sneako. You know,
exactly. Shout out to Afro.
Yeah.
With that being said, we about to get up out of here. Y'all be safe and be one.
Be one.